Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla, I'm your host, and today we're talking about why consistency beats perfection in leadership. So today is going to be a cool conversation just about my mindset shifts and practical tools and real life leadership insights for when it comes to perfectionism and really trying to beat that and be more consistent. And I'm excited to share for May that I'm going to be doing a consistency challenge. So one of the things that I've been trying to do with this podcast is really start and grow a engaged community. And I've been doing that on a separate app outside of the podcast to keep the podcast conversations going. And for May, I thought it'd be really fun to spice things up and actually get people super engaged in the group, commenting and just sharing their experiences with consistency by hosting a 4-week challenge. So it's going to be a powerful 4-week journey where I'm going to help you show up as consistent and as a focused professional and leader. So it's going to be fun. Each week, I'm going to give you a theme to focus on. We're going to do one small challenge that I know you can accomplish. I'm going to give you a template or some sort of tool or a journal prompt to help you reduce overwhelm and build momentum as we go into May, which is going to be cool because once we're in May, it's the 5th month of the year. And we're like, oh, it's only April, but all of a sudden May is like month number 5. Okay. Because that feels really close to month number 6, which means half the year is over. Mind blown. I'm just like, how are we already here? And when it comes to June or July, it's summertime. We're enjoying our time. We want to sort of cruise, I guess, when it comes to work. But then all of a sudden fall is here and bam, things fly once the holidays come. I don't know. Years go super fast, especially if you're like me and you have children. I do not know how, people always would say oh, time moves so quick once you have kids. It's true. The seasons just fly by. And so what I want for you is to head into the summer and that mid-year check-in when you're looking at your goals, you're like, oh, got this. I've been showing up consistently. I know exactly what my goals are. I know exactly where I am with them, and I'm just rocking it. So I'm excited to host that. So if you are interested in participating in the May Consistency Challenge, I don't know if I'm going to come up with a more cool word or, a better title for that, or if we're just going to straight up call it May Consistency Challenge. But I would love for you to hop in there, join my free community. It's linked in the description or in the show notes. And then I will be hyping it up in there and sharing the calendar. I'm working on it right now. I cannot wait to share it with you. So hopefully this first episode is just kind of like a taste into what I'm talking about. And then next week's episode, I'll share more about the challenge and go even deeper into these topics, into this topic of consistency versus perfectionism. So, all right, let's hop right into the episode now. Let's start by defining perfection. There's probably a ton of different ways to define it, but what came to mind was flawless execution of something. It's exactly how you plan. You can picture it's very rigid. It's got straight edges. It's just perfect, no flaws. And it's funny because I think of a diamond when I think of something like that. But as we know, diamonds have flaws and that's why they sparkle. So even a diamond is not perfect. Let's remember that. But anyways, perfection in my head means flawless execution. I remember when I was in college, it was probably between 2008 and 2012. I can't remember when. I had a friend who I remember the first time she said it to me. I told her something simple oh, yeah, I went to the store and I picked up XYZ for this project. And she was like, oh, perfect. And I thought, why is that perfect? It's just a thing that I did. I wasn't rating it on a success scale. I did the thing, check the box. She's like, oh, perfect. But then it becomes sort of this colloquial like expression that we all use now as a response to something, right? Someone says like, "Hey, I set up the meeting for next Tuesday." You're like, "Oh, perfect." Right? It's just this normal word that we use. And it's funny because as my kids are in school and they're showing me their like artwork and their homework and they're telling me stories, I've caught myself saying like, "Oh, perfect, honey." And I'm like, "Wait, like I don't want to normalize the word perfect for them because it doesn't have to be a perfect art project. Like that's not the point." Or, "Hey mom, I counted to like 100 today," or something. It's like, perfect. No, just good job. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. So perfect, in my experience with leaders and professionals, often means paralyzing. And I've been there too, right? When you want something to go exactly as planned, it can actually prevent you from getting started at all. And all of a sudden, you are in analysis paralysis, or you're just like paralyzed. You are procrastinating, putting something off because in your mind, you might not be able to execute perfectly or flawlessly, or maybe you're just unsure about the next step. So, we're going to talk more about that in a second. In contrast, let's talk about consistency. So, I define this as reliable, a steady effort that builds momentum. So if perfectionism is the opposite of consistency, perfectionism being flawless execution, consistency just means like execution that happened. Doesn't have to be flawless. It's steady. And we're going to talk about the all or nothing mindset or the 10x um, scenario next. But I just wanted to define those two things for you. Consistency for me means like reliable, steadfast. And when you are consistent, one thing every day, let's just say that builds momentum. And when we think of, if you're a science person, I know a lot of you that listen are in healthcare or a science person. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're an engineer. I know some of you are engineers. We talk about like potential energy and kinetic energy, and potential energy being like the energy that we have the potential to use, right? Like, so let's say we're just like standing on the top of a cliff, like potential energy, there's a lot of that. Like, if we were to fall off, kinetic energy is energy you have when you're moving. So it's like you just keep moving, right? All of that energy. It is so much easier to keep moving and then stay moving versus stopping and starting again, stopping and starting again. And that's what happens when we deal with procrastination or perfectionism. Is a lot of times we're paralyzed, we take big action. We're paralyzed, we take big action. So what if trying to be perfect is actually holding you back more than helping you? So let's talk about that. There is this mindset shift that we need to make when we're thinking about perfectionism and we want to go to consistency. And I want to help us shift from this all in to one step at a time mindset. So the all or nothing mindset is, let me give you an example. Let's say, and you guys know I've been training for a half marathon. And by the way, I don't know if I've shared on this yet because my last episode I was in Hawaii. I don't think I had done the half marathon yet. By the way, it was successful. I finished number one goal. Number two goal was my goal time was average 9:30 minute per mile, and I was sub that, which is cool. I don't really remember. And I finished it in 2 hours and 6 minutes. I was like really hoping at the end, like, oh, maybe I can go to sub 2 hours. That wasn't my goal at all. But when I saw my time, I was like, maybe I can do it. It didn't happen, but it felt amazing and it went great. And so, as an example of all or nothing mindset could be, and it's something I did during my training, is overtraining, right? Going to the gym, maybe running on the treadmill 6 or 7 days in a row, right? It's either you're working out or you're not working out, right? And then me burning out, me getting tired legs, too much too soon, right? Not building up the mileage slow enough. Instead of going like 10% more miles each week, just going like 50% more, right? Not sustainable. That's all or nothing versus maybe going 3 times a week and allowing my body rest days in between and being able to do that long term, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It just means my plan is I go 3 times a week and that's what I need to do to meet this goal. If we can apply this to leadership, this would mean that to be consistent, but not all or nothing, it would mean showing up daily, even when things are not on fire, which builds trust, helps with reliability, It also means taking a little bit of action every day, being intentional about that action instead of taking massive action for a certain amount of time. Like, bam, bam, bam. I got like my email is great. I'm doing all the task check boxing, right? I'm meeting all the people. I'm doing all the projects. And then all of a sudden I just like nothing, kind of go off the face of the earth. Like, is she there? Right? That leads into my next point, the 10x rule versus taking one simple step. There's a book out there, and I have listened to part of it. I could not listen to all of it. I forget who wrote it, but pretty famous personal development person. And it's called like the 10x rule. And they talk about taking massive action to hit your goals. And while I do think there are seasons where massive action is really important because it does drive momentum and it gets the ball rolling so that it can be consistent over time, it also can lead to extreme burnout, especially when we're doing this thing where we're yo-yoing, where it's like massive action, things are great, 10x, max effort. Then it's not sustainable. So we burn out and we quit. And as leaders, we can't just fall off the face of the earth. We have to keep showing up. So we need to flip this to, okay, we don't have to be 10xing it all the time. There might be seasons where you have a project, a go live, a deadline. We've got to 10x it just to cross the finish line. But then you pull it back and you go back to your normal routine of consistent effort to keep the momentum growing, which allows for your growth and development instead of your falling off the face of the earth. There's this wonderful quote. I was on social media, just sort of like letting my brain think about these concepts I wanted to share with you today. And I saw this quote. It said, break often, not like porcelain, but like waves. And it's by, I'm totally going to mess up the name. She's an author, and I believe psychologist, and has written some wonderful books and has founded a psychosocial wellness therapeutic space. So maybe a little too woo-woo for some of you, but I love the quote. It's by Shirazad Siabohan. Anyways, break often, not like porcelain, but like waves. And this reminded me of the idea that when we are being consistent, we do also need to have times where we're resting. I showed in a previous YouTube short, as well as in my course, I talk about success not being linear and it being more like steps, right? You go up and then you rest, and then you go up and then you rest. And we have to build in times for us to break, right? Like my trip to Hawaii was amazing for me because I was like, great, cool. Like I'm re-energized to come back and do the work, right? But I didn't wait to take the vacation until I was totally broken. And so we need to break often where it's like a soft break. The waves go over themselves and they go into the ocean and crash in or whatever. They go in and then they become part of the ocean. They, more waves come. It's a gentle break versus shattering like porcelain. I'm physically broken. You are not putting me back together. There is no going into the ocean. I'm just broken. So I want us to think about when we're consistent, we can take breaks. We can make that smooth. We can keep going. And we don't have the resentment. We don't have the burnout. We aren't being last minute. We drive better results and we build more trust with our team. Like, what an amazing team culture that we can build and how much confidence we can instill in ourselves. So, with these concepts, I think we can understand why consistency wins in leadership. Number one, consistency, like I mentioned, it equals reliability. Great leaders aren't perfect. They're not flawless, but they are dependable. They're always there. When I think about the favorite bosses I've had over the years, they're the ones that just show up. They're always there. I know I can get a hold of them. I know I can reach them. I know if I need anything from them, they're there. I know what they say they do. They're going to do it. They're dependable. Number two, why consistency wins in leadership? Consistent effort equals daily learning. When you take action, when you act, you get feedback, you learn something. When you wait for perfection, you stay stuck. You don't learn anything. You don't allow yourself to tweak and perfect, right? You don't allow yourself to actually do the thing you want to do because you're not doing anything. So you actually do need to take small steps so you can learn and tweak and strive for continuous improvement rather than perfection. And number 3, why consistency wins in leadership. Perfection often equals inaction, just like we've been saying, but just say it a little bit more directly. You don't need to know the full how something's going to go or how to execute something or how it's going to work out to start moving and course correct as you go. There are many times as a leader and professional where I'm tasked to lead a project and I've never done it before and there is no roadmap. There is no procedure. There is no training. It's just, hey, we want you to lead this project. We know it's the first one. We trust you to do the right thing. And guess how I execute? I get started and I start asking questions. And then I start making one decision. And then I make another decision. And then I make another one. And it gets easier. So instead of sitting and waiting and thinking you have to make all the decisions now, you can make one decision at a time. And that's consistency. And that's the sign of a leader who can build momentum sustainably, is reliable, and is just excellent in their craft. So I wanted to share some tools for consistent leadership. So number 1, leader standard work. It's essentially a work habit tracker that helps you level load your days, see what work you have, helps you plan time for you to work on your strategic work, and be intentional about where you're spending your time. And it helps you establish that rhythm and reduce decision fatigue. I talk a lot about standard work in my course, Get Organized at Work Blueprint course. And that's also linked in the description below or in the show notes for you. I show you what it is, explain everything, how it helped me, real examples of mine, and then help you build your own so that you can have a routine. You can stop being inconsistent and last minute. And this is going to help you be a proactive leader. The other tool for consistent leadership is just having that vision for your year. And I hear from a lot of people that they want to be more strategic. And one of the issues is they have a hard time being that like innovator. They're like, I can't see the things you can see, Kayla. I can't see that vision. And I want to help you by talking about planning your year in projects and content buckets. And this is all about project roadmaps. And so it helps you keep your why and your goals in sight to stay anchored as you're going through the year. I was just on Friday this past week updating my project roadmap so I could send it to my boss. I haven't really showed it with them yet. This year, they know what projects I'm working on, but I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I have a bunch of work that we've worked on and some updates to share finally. So I'm like, let's do it. And then that is also in my course with templates to walk you through everything, help you decide what projects to even include in your roadmap. And then the third tool for consistent leadership is brain dumping. I mean, having a plan. Something people really struggle with is getting your thoughts out of your head onto paper. So I would suggest journaling, using digital tools like OneNote or Asana to just like brain dump all your ideas, your projects, your tasks, your to-dos, and really like what you want to get out of the year. Honestly, though, when I think about brain dumping, pen to paper, like physical pen to paper, whether it's your Apple Pen to your iPad, or even for me, I love using a whiteboard. There's nothing like reserving a conference room at the library with a huge whiteboard and you're just like brain dumping your entire life on there. Take a picture of it and you're like, wow, I feel better. Like I have a plan. You can do this at home with a whiteboard, like small one in your kitchen. You can do this with Post-it notes. Get your pen onto paper. It's going to help you clear your mind and help you with that vision. And you can use strategic planning tools like the roadmap or the leader standard work once you've sort of brain dumped it to make action steps clear and less overwhelming for you. So to recap, consistency over perfection. Yeah, it sounds simple, but I know it can be a hard thing. So that's why I want to have this May consistency challenge to help us sort of get started and get that momentum going. I want to remind you that small actions compound and just really inspire you to keep going. And reliable leaders inspire confidence. By you showing up, people are like, wow, I trust you. I'm with you. I see the work you're doing. I see that you're moving forward every day. This is a leader I want to work with. So I want you to ask yourself, what is one consistent habit that you can start to think about this week as a leader that you want to invite yourself to do more in May? And I want you to come join my May Consistency Challenge in my community. I'll have either like a question or a poll or something posted by the time you get there. And I want you to comment, like, what's that one thing that you're like, I really wish I can do more of this consistently in May. And then we can sort of start to build the challenge off of that. All right, I really appreciate you listening to this episode and being here. And if you would please share it with a friend, I would love, as we like expand this community, share it with a coworker who needs to hear this right now. Maybe we can do the consistency challenge together, get a work buddy. And otherwise, I will see you in the next episode. Take care.